I sit cross-legged on the floor, the hardwood pressing into my legs, the smell of fake pine thick in the air. Torn wrapping paper litters the living room like the aftermath of a storm. It's Christmas morning in Portland, and I'm back in the house where I grew up. Chelsea spins in front of the tree, her manicured fingers dangling a pair of BMW keys. The polished metal glints under the colored lights, flashing like a spotlight on her perfect performance. At 32, she moves with the giddy energy of a teenager. She squeals, bouncing like she's lighter than air. Her car. Her own car. Dad's grin is unrestrained, wide and unfiltered. Mom's eyes shine wet as she presses her hands together beneath her chin. They look at her like she's a miracle, like the universe cracked open to give them this moment. Outside in the driveway sits the gleaming white BMW, polished to a mirror, wearing an oversized red bow like a crown. The bow alone probably costs more than what they've spent on me this entire holiday. In my lap rests my gift. A plastic piggy bank, shaped like a cartoon character I outgrew before middle school. The cheap kind you find in the corner bin at a dollar store. The tag is still attached, $1.99. Mom nudges me. Open it. My fingers hesitate, then obey. The little rubber stopper gives way, and 2 single-dollar bills float into my palm. My home fund, they tell me, the start of my future. Dad waves it off like it's generous wisdom, like this is who I am, the responsible one. He winks at Chelsea. She laughs, feigning offense. The silence in the room stretches thin and sticky, like pulled sugar. Mom breaks it, her voice airy, rehearsed. Chelsea needs reliable transportation for her clients. A graphic designer has to project the right image. Of course. Chelsea drops onto the couch beside me, her perfume too sweet, too heavy, pressing down on me. She pats my knee gently, her voice dripping condescension.
Don't worry, sis.
I'll drive you around. Your little Toyota must be on its last legs by now. My Toyota. The car that just carried me 7 hours through winter mountain passes. The car I paid off 3 years ago with no help, no gifts, no bows. The car that has been more reliable than any relationship in this house. My chest feels tight. I can't breathe. 34 years condense into this single moment. It's not a fluke, not bad timing. It's the pattern of my life. I see it clear now, sharper than I want to. Earlier this morning, I had placed my own carefully wrapped gifts beneath the tree. A leather briefcase for Dad that cost 2 weeks of pay, a silver bracelet Mom had once admired in a boutique window, a professional camera lens Chelsea casually mentioned. Each one purchased by cutting pieces off my paycheck month after month. The entire drive from Seattle, I had rehearsed the words, senior structural engineer. My promotion. My nights and weekends poured into buildings designed to last longer than any of us. I imagined their faces lit with pride. I imagined, just once, they'd see me as more than Chelsea's responsible older sister. At every rest stop, at every gas station, I whispered the same fragile hope. Maybe this Christmas will be different. I placed the piggy bank on the glass coffee table. The hollow thud echoes louder than it should. Excuse me, I say, though my voice doesn't sound like mine. Bathroom. Upstairs, I pass the gallery of family photos where Chelsea's face dominates every frame. I lock the bathroom door behind me. My reflection stares back, eyes too dry, face too calm. I press my hands against the cold marble counter, waiting for tears that don't come. Instead, pressure builds inside my chest, heavy and immovable. People describe heartbreak as if it's poetry. It's not. It's physical. My heart chambers seize, blood squeezes through shrinking veins. My sternum aches like weight is pressing it flat. This is what dying feels like, I think. Not dramatic. Just diminishing. That night, I lie awake in my childhood bed, listening to Chelsea's laughter downstairs as she and my parents plan her first road trip. Their voices are muffled, but the joy cuts through the walls clean. At 2:17 a.m., I sit up. I pack quickly. Only the things that matter. My grandmother's faded teddy bear, the college photo album, the wooden box holding my first professional blueprint. The expensive gifts I've given them over the years stay behind. They were never about gratitude anyway. The house is silent as I carry my suitcase down the stairs. My house key sits cold in my palm for one last moment before I set it on the counter beside the coffee maker. It will brew in 3 hours for people who made their choice long before tonight. And now I'm making mine. Streetlights smear into watery halos as I drive empty highways. The clock glows 3:42 a.m. Snow thickens against my windshield. Wipers fighting to keep up. Bing Crosby croons about white Christmases. I turn the dial until his voice dies away. Merry Christmas, I whisper to the empty passenger seat. My throat cracks on the word Merry. The irony burns. Through the southern edge of Portland, the Toyota heater strains against the cold. 7 years old, 200,000 miles, it has never failed me. It carried me through exams, first jobs, promotions. It asked for nothing. Unlike the BMW in my parents' driveway, bought with a bow and applause, my car has earned its place in my life. Just after 6, my phone buzzes. Mom's face lights up the screen. I glance down. The call isn't, "Are you safe?" or "Please come home." The phone buzzes again on the passenger seat. Mom's voice fills the car through voicemail. Not a question of safety. Not a plea to come home. Just one sentence. Did I remember to pay the electric bill for the cabin before I left Seattle? The cabin. Their prized weekend retreat. Chelsea's backdrop for Instagram photos, a place I've barely set foot in. My chest tightens as a semi roars past. Dirty slush splatters across my windshield. For 3 breathless seconds, I drive blind. The wipers claw the glass, scraping vision back into place. My hands tremble against the steering wheel. Memories hit harder than the snow. 5th birthday. Chelsea's princess party. Real ponies in the backyard. A 3-tier castle cake. Balloons, hats, 30 squealing kids. The next year, my turn. A sheet cake from the grocery store. 2 friends from kindergarten. Paper plates from the dollar bin. Dad's explanation still echoes. Your sister needs the social stimulation. You're more independent. Independent, their code for, you don't need us. High school graduation. Valedictorian. My speech about persistence and dreams echoing through the gym. Empty chairs in the family section. Chelsea had an away soccer game. We'll watch the recording, Mom promised. That VHS tape sat unopened on my dresser until I packed for college. Her words linger still. Your sister needs encouragement. You always succeed without our help. Without help, their code for, you're on your own. Highway signs count down miles to the California border. College years flicker past my eyes. Working shifts at the campus bookstore, cafeteria, every extra dollar stretched thin. Maxed out course loads to graduate early. Loans and scholarships barely enough. While Chelsea traveled Europe, our parents funding her inspiration. Your sister needs to find herself, Dad insisted over the phone. You've always known who you are. Known who I am, their code for, you don't deserve the luxury of exploration. My phone vibrates again. Dad this time. I let it ring. Let it die in silence. Dawn bleeds across the horizon. Oncoming headlights blur into golden streaks through my tears. I pull to the shoulder, hazards blinking. My forehead rests heavy against the wheel. It all crystallizes, like shards of glass under bright light. Dad controls the money, bankrolling Chelsea's every whim, withholding from me, dismissing my worth with the casual flick of a hand. Mom controls the emotions, manipulating with guilt, making me feel selfish for wanting the smallest scrap of attention. Together, the perfect system, financial favoritism in one hand, emotional starvation in the other. The phone rings again. A different name. Monica Perez. My college roommate. My lifeline. Where are you? Her voice, warm and firm, fills the car. Somewhere in Southern Oregon, I answer. My voice sounds foreign, like it belongs to someone hollow. Heading south. To where? I don't know. A pause. Then her voice steadies, solid as stone. Come to San Francisco. Stay with me. Family doesn't treat family like this. She knows. She's seen it. The packages that arrived for me in college, necessities, always cheap, while Chelsea unwrapped designer clothes. She remembers holiday breaks I spent alone in empty dorms, while my parents whisked Chelsea to Aspen, Maui, Paris. I can't impose, I whisper. Stop. Monica's tone sharpens. You've spent your whole life being the helper. Let someone help you for once. Her words strike a crack in me. Help. Such a simple thing, but foreign in my family. In the Collins household, help has always flowed one way, toward Chelsea. Never toward me. Okay. I breathe, surprising myself. Text me every hour. Drive safe. I'm making up the guest room. The call ends. I ease back onto the highway. Fresh snow streaks across the glass, but my shoulders lower from their defensive hunch. For the first time since I left Portland, I feel something close to relief. By 7:30 a.m., I cross the California line. The sun paints the Welcome to California sign in gold. My phone shows 17 missed calls, 32 unread messages. With deliberate hands, I silence them all.
Mom, Dad, Ches.
Their voices cut off with a single press. The silence that follows feels heavier than any accusation.
Hunger gnaws at me.
I haven't eaten since Christmas Eve dinner. A diner flickers ahead. Its neon sign blinks open, glowing like salvation against the snow. I pull in. The lot is nearly empty. Inside, warmth embraces me. The smell of coffee and bacon fills the air. A silver-haired waitress appears, pouring black coffee into a chipped mug before I can answer. Her name tag reads Gloria. Rough night, she asks. Rough life, I mutter, then wince at the drama. Gloria doesn't flinch. She studies me, eyes kind, sharp from years behind a counter. Honey, I've been serving coffee 40 years. I know heartbreak when I see it. Family or boyfriend? Family. She nods knowingly, sliding me a menu. Her hand lingers briefly on mine. Blood makes you related. Love and respect make you family. She gestures at the board. The special comes with extra bacon. You'll want it. I order. Wrap my hands around the mug. Let the steam rise against my face. Outside, snowflakes dissolve on the glass. Inside, her words echo. Blood makes you related. Love and respect make you family. For 34 years, I've been related to the Collins family. Maybe now it's time to learn what belonging to a real family feels like. 3 weeks later, San Francisco. Monica's apartment. My phone vibrates on the nightstand. Relentless. Dad's number flashes for the 13th time that morning. I stare at it, count to 10, then silence it. Another call laid to rest in the growing graveyard of voicemails I will never answer. The first week, their messages were laced with confusion. The second, with concern. Now, in the third week, their words have curdled into something darker. Manipulation wrapped in authority. Cruelty disguised as love. Dad's voice booms through the latest voicemail when I finally dare to press play. Iris Elizabeth Collins. If you don't return this car immediately, I'll report it stolen. This childish behavior has gone on long enough.
The car.
My Toyota. The one with my name on the title. 7 years of receipts stamped and filed away. Every mile paid for with my own work.
Mine.
I clutch a throw pillow against my stomach, swallowing down the acid rising in my throat. Then Mom's voice cuts in, trembling with rehearsed fragility. The doctor says my blood pressure is dangerously high because of the stress you're causing. Is that what you want, Iris? For me to end up in the hospital because you're being selfish? I delete both voicemails. My finger lingers over the screen longer than I'd like to admit. Their words still sink teeth into me, but I force myself to let them go. Monica's spare bedroom has become my temporary sanctuary. Terracotta walls catch the morning light, warming the space in a way my sterile Seattle apartment never did. On the dresser sits my laptop. Its glow reveals the email I've written and rewritten 14 times. Dear Mr. Sanderson, I'm writing to formally request a transfer to the San Francisco office, effective immediately. My finger hovers over send. Then I click. No family strings. No fathers. Just my record. My worth. 3 hours later, The approval hits my inbox, casual as a wave of the hand. As if I've always had the power to choose my own life. You got it. Monica leans in the doorway, curls tumbling around her face. Genuine happiness radiates from her expression. I'm still not used to that. Someone celebrating me without twisting it into their reflection. I start Monday, I tell her. Now I just need a place. I already called Andrea from book club. She manages an apartment building in the Mission. Rent-controlled. Safe. 20 minutes from your office. You didn't have to. I wanted to. She cuts me off, dropping onto the bed beside me. Friends help friends. No strings attached. Novel concept, huh? The words sting, not because they hurt, but because they're true.
No strines. No obligations. No escorequeping.
My throat burns with tears I've been holding back for weeks. I made you an appointment too, Monica adds, sliding a business card across my laptop.
Dr. Elaine Levin, PH.D.
Family therapy. I'm not crazy, I whisper. No, Monica says softly. But you've been carrying something heavy for a long time. Maybe it's time to put it down somewhere safe. Tuesday, 4 p.m. The office smells of lemon polish and old books. Dr. Levine wears glasses on a beaded chain, sensible shoes that make no sound on the carpet. She doesn't rush me. She waits. The silence feels like an invitation, not a punishment. Favoritism. I finally manage. The word lands heavy, orbiting the air like a newly discovered planet. My entire life. And how did that make you feel? Like I was worth exactly $2, I answer. Later that week, Andrea shows me an apartment. 650 square feet. A kitchenette barely wide enough for a fridge. But the west-facing windows catch the afternoon sun. Golden light spills across the hardwood floors. By nightfall, it's mine. I buy a futon, a desk, a lamp. Nothing else. The emptiness doesn't feel poor. It feels intentional. Room to grow. Saturday, Monica drags me to a community center. Pottery class, she announces. I don't. You need something that isn't work or therapy. I protest, but then my hands sink into cool clay. The sensation grounds me. The instructor, silver-haired in paint-spattered overalls, stands behind me. Don't force it, she murmurs. Listen to what it wants to become. My fingers tremble. Slowly, something takes shape. By the end of class, I hold a small, uneven bowl. Ugly and beautiful. Entirely mine. For weeks after Christmas, the first video call comes. I answer on the third ring, bracing for impact. Dad's face floods the screen, red with anger. Where have you been? Your mother has been worried sick. Behind him, Mom dabs dry eyes with a tissue. San Francisco. I say evenly. I transferred offices. Without discussing it with us first, Mom pushes into view. How could you be so inconsiderate? The familiar pull tugs at me. Apologize, placate, earn love. But Dr. Levine's words echo. Your feelings are valid. Their reactions belong to them, not you. I needed space, I say. Space from what? Dad barks. From family? From responsibility? From growing up? From feeling invisible? I answer. My voice is steady, surprising me. From being valued less than Chelsea. From chasing love that should have been freely given. Mom's tears fall on cue. How can you say such hurtful things? We've always loved you both the same. I'm not responsible for your feelings anymore, I reply. The words feel like stones I've carried in my mouth for decades, finally released. I'm responsible for mine. Dad slams his palm against the table. This conversation is over until you're ready to apologize. Then I guess we're done talking, I say, and end the call. Days later, whispers reach me through LinkedIn messages and old coworkers' texts. The family story is already spreading. Iris had a breakdown. Iris lost her mind. I'm living in squalor. I've joined a cult. That's the family narrative now. Chelsea feeds it carefully to her followers, posting curated photos in muted filters. Her face tilted, lips pressed, a portrait of concern. Captions sprinkled with vague references to heartbreak,
To prayer.
to mental health battles. Her audience of thousands clicks like sending prayers into a void she doesn't actually inhabit. Meanwhile, my coworkers know nothing of this version of me. They don't see tragedy. They see my work. They see the numbers precise, the designs clean, the structures rising strong. To them, I am competence and innovation. Not brokenness. Not scandal. 10 days later, Chelsea shows up unannounced at my office. She doesn't make it past reception. Monica happens to be there, dropping off lunch. Her timing is divine. She's in a meeting, Monica tells her flatly, and she'll remain in meetings indefinitely for uninvited visitors. Chelsea retreats. For the first time in my life, someone else stands guard. Wednesday nights, I sit in a church basement that smells of coffee grounds and old hymnals. Therapy group. 8 strangers, bound by the invisible threads of similar wounds. Raymond, 60, soft-spoken accountant, hasn't spoken to his brother in 2 decades. Family doesn't get a pass just because they're family, he says one evening, his voice steady. Love without respect isn't love. It's possession. The words carve themselves into me. They feel less like advice and more like a truth I already knew but couldn't name. 6 months after Christmas, my apartment no longer echoes with emptiness. Pottery I've shaped with my own hands lines the windowsills. Each piece still imperfect, yet stronger, more balanced. A real bed has replaced the futon. A desk where I draft blueprints has become my command center. The promotion came, too, senior project manager. The raise dissolving any leftover anxiety about money. On my bookshelf sits a plastic piggy bank. Inside, crisp $2 bills, one for each week I've lived free. Not punishment. A ritual. A reminder that sometimes the smallest betrayals reveal the largest truths. The first holiday season arrives. No dread of buying gifts that will be shrugged at. No rehearsals for performances I never auditioned for. No shrinking to fit a role that diminished me. Just me, in a space I built. Becoming someone I can finally begin to value. Worth far more than $2. Then the envelope arrives. Ivory. Heavy. Elegant. It sits on my counter like a landmine. For 3 days, I don't touch it. Inside, Vanessa's wedding invitation. My name in swooping calligraphy. Iris Collins. No +1. Just me. Expected to walk back into the fold, alone. So, what are you thinking? Dr. Winters asks, her chair creaking as she leans in. I trace the armrest. Count the brass tacks one by one. I'm going, I whisper. Then quickly add, on my terms. Her eyebrows rise. I booked a Hilton 4 blocks from the venue. Dad already called twice. Wants me to stay at their rental house. I didn't answer. And how did that feel? Satisfying. I smile faintly, letting the voicemail fill up. The boundary is the message. 7 months of therapy have given me a language I never had. Self-protection. Boundaries. Words I used to think applied only to other people. My phone buzzes mid-session. Chelsea again. The 3rd text today. Can't wait to see you next weekend. We need sister time before the madness. I slide the phone back into my purse without answering. Your sister? Dr. Winters asks. Suddenly, we're best friends. I laugh, but it lands hollow. She never texted this much when we lived in the same city. What do you think she wants?
A ride.
Money. Someone to carry her bags. The old me. I run my hands across the midnight blue silk swatch draped over my lap. The dress I've commissioned. 3 fittings to make sure it falls from my shoulders like armor. A color chosen not for peace, but for power. Not for reconciliation, but reclamation. They've enlisted flying monkeys, I tell her. Uncle Pete called about family sticking together. Aunt Judith emailed about forgiveness being divine. Even Vanessa's fiancé messaged me on Facebook. They're coordinating. And how does that make you feel? Before therapy, I would have lied.
Fine.
Always fine. Now I press into the truth. I trace the constriction in my throat, the sweat prickling my scalp, the tremor in my hands. Terrified, I admit, but also ready. That night, I spread the seating chart Vanessa accidentally sent out across my kitchen table. My name sits neatly between Mom and Dad, directly across from Chelsea. The tableau restored. I reach for my phone. Dial Vanessa. It's Iris. I have a small request about the seating arrangements. Friday comes cloaked in San Francisco fog. As the plane lifts, the fog falls away. Clouds part over Oregon, revealing a landscape of rivers and forests that raised me. My heart pounds faster as the plane descends into Portland. The rehearsal dinner glows warm against the twilight sky. I stand on the sidewalk, fingers wrapped around the smooth stone pendant Monica pressed into my palm before I left. Strength isn't the absence of fear, she told me. It's feeling fear and walking forward anyway. I square my shoulders. Open the heavy wooden door. Conversation halts. Glasses pause midair. Heads swivel. My mother's hand flies to her throat. My father's drink stops inches from his lips. They stare at me as if I'm a stranger. And in some ways, I am. The Iris who fled at Christmas was a shadow. This woman, tailored black pants, emerald silk blouse, heels that strike the floor like punctuation. This woman is solid. Present. The diamond studs in my ears catch the light as I scan the room, unhurried. I nod once, acknowledging, not apologizing. Chelsea reaches me first, arms outstretched. But she looks different too. The shine has dulled. Her designer watch is gone. The salon highlights have grown out. Her smile trembles at the edges. You look amazing, she says, hugging me lightly. Thank you. I replied I take a step back. The distance between Chelsea and me feels intentional now, like a wall I choose to keep standing. How's the BMW treating you? I ask, my tone light, but edged. Her eyes flicker. She glances down, then away. I had to trade it in. Got a Honda. More practical, you know? The words stumble out, stripped of pride. Over her shoulder, I see our parents hunched with Aunt Martha in a shadowed corner. Mother dabs her eyes with a cocktail napkin. Father's posture is collapsed, shoulders slumped, as if the air's gone out of him. A shape I've never seen before. Weakness. Cousin Tara slips in close, vodka tonic sweating in her hand. She leans toward me like someone sharing a state secret. God, am I glad you're here. You wouldn't believe the drama since Christmas. Oh, I ask, keeping my voice steady. Your parents are selling the house. She lowers her voice further. They say it's medical bills. But everyone knows they've been floating Chelsea for years. Reality finally caught up. Before I can respond, a waiter circles with champagne. I take a glass. Watch the bubbles race upward, burst, disappear. Stories do the same. What rises can't last. Uncle Simon finds me next. His hand closes warmly around mine. You're looking well, Iris. That job in San Francisco must agree with you. Senior project manager now, I tell him. The title feels foreign still, but satisfying. His eyebrows lift.
No kidding?
That's wonderful. And then the orbit begins. One by one, relatives drift closer. Cousin Michael admits he noticed the favoritism all along. Aunt Martha hugs me too tight and whispers about Dad losing his job 3 months ago, about Mom's anxiety medication. Each revelation rolls over me like waves. But I'm no longer standing on the shore. I've climbed to higher ground. Then my father corners me. Bourbon clings to his breath. His voice is the same one that shaped my childhood, authoritative, commanding, but something beneath it has cracked. Family sticks together, Iris. No matter what. I meet his gaze. My spine doesn't bend. Does it, Dad? Or do some family members stick together while others get pushed aside? His face flushes. We've always supported you.
$2.
In a piggy bank. The words leave me soft, almost gentle, but they cut. They land. His mouth opens, closes. He turns away. In the ladies' room, my mother appears beside me at the sink. Her reflection hovers next to mine in the mirror. Tears swim in her eyes as she reaches for my hand. We miss you so much. I rinse my palms, lather slipping away like all the excuses I've heard before. I miss who I thought you were too. Back in the ballroom, Chelsea intercepts me. She tugs me out onto the terrace where the air is cool, roses drifting up from the garden below. Her words spill fast, desperate. The BMW got repossessed. I'm drowning in debt. Clients dried up. Dad can't help anymore. Her voice trembles. I don't know how to do this, Iris. I never learned how to stand on my own. Her confession hangs between us like glass about to shatter. 7 months ago, I would have rushed in.
Solution.
Money. A couch to crash on. I would have made her survival my responsibility. Not tonight. I rest my hand gently on her arm. That sounds really hard, Chelsea. My voice carries compassion, but no offer of rescue. A line I've spent months in therapy learning how to draw. Her eyes widen slightly.
Surprise.
Confusion. She doesn't recognize this version of me. I can help you make a budget, I add. But I can't fix this for you. Over her shoulder, Vanessa glows in pre-wedding bliss, bridesmaids orbiting like satellites. Tomorrow will demand its own strength. But tonight, standing here with the weight of old expectations sliding off me like water, I realize I'm not afraid anymore. I am the woman who walked away. The woman who built a life from the ground up. Whatever comes, I will face it with both feet firmly planted on the foundation I've created. The next morning, sunlight spills through the tall windows of Magnolia Gardens. The bridal suite is awash in gold as Vanessa transforms from nervous bride to radiant woman. The light feels too tender for the storm churning inside me. Aunt Martha touches my arm. Iris, your parents are looking for you. They're in the library. Said it's important. 7 months. 7 months since I walked out of their house with nothing but a suitcase and a lifetime of silence behind me. I knew this moment would come. Thanks, Martha. My voice is calm. Too calm. I'll help Vanessa with her veil first. Her eyes soften with sympathy. They mentioned a family emergency. Before the ceremony. Of course they did. When I finally push the library door open, it feels heavier than it should, as though it knows what waits inside. Mom sits stiff-backed in a high chair, tissues clenched. Dad paces near the fireplace, every movement clipped, contained. Chelsea leans against the window, her dress glittering under daylight, more expensive than my rent, though her repossessed BMW is nowhere to be found. Iris, thank God. Mom rises, arms stretched. We need to talk. As a family. I don't move from the threshold. The ceremony starts in 40 minutes. Sit down, Iris. Dad gestures toward the lone chair, positioned neatly to face them all. A stage.
En intervention.
This can't wait any longer. I close the door behind me. Stay standing.
I'm listening.
Chelsea steps forward. Her tone carries urgency, not arrogance. Iris, this has gone far enough. Dad lost his job 3 months ago. Dad interrupts quickly. The company downsized. Budget cuts. Mom's been seeing a therapist, Chelsea continues. Depression. This all started when you left at Christmas. Mom presses tissue to eyes that remain suspiciously dry. We're selling the house. The perfect trifecta. Financial collapse. Health concerns.
Guilt.
Wrapped neatly like a weapon. 7 months ago, it would have worked. I would have caved. Apologized for crimes that weren't mine. Offered help I couldn't afford. Carried their weight on my back like I always had. Not today. I walk to the chair they've positioned for me. Place my purse beside it. Sit tall. Shoulders square. My voice steady. I'm sorry to hear about your job, Dad. And Mom, I'm glad you're getting help. Their faces twist. Confusion. This isn't the reaction they rehearsed. Didn't you hear what we said? Chelsea snaps, her voice pitching high. They're selling the house because of you. No, my tone sharpens. They're selling the house because of choices they made long before I left. I open my purse, pull out a leather-bound photo album, set it across my lap like evidence in a courtroom. Mom frowns. We don't have time for. You called this meeting, I interrupt, my thumb sliding across the first page. So we have time. The photos stare back. Chelsea's birthday, princess theme, entertainers, decorations spilling across the room. My birthday that same year, store-bought cake, kitchen table. 2 parties. 2 stories. Side by side. Remember these? I flip through more. Christmas mornings, vacations, graduations. Patterns so obvious, now they scream from the glossy pages. Years of favoritism, cataloged. Dad's face reddens. This is ridiculous. We always treated you girls equally. From the purse, I pull another folder. Bank statements. Cold, undeniable math. My student loans, $67,000 I'm still paying. Chelsea's education? Fully covered, including her year in Europe for art inspiration. Chelsea shifts in her chair, eyes darting. That's not fair. You chose engineering. That was your decision. It was my passion. My voice is calm, precise. The same way art was yours. The difference is, my passion wasn't considered worth investing in. Mom rises, hands trembling. We didn't have the money when you went to college. Things were different by the time. I already know your financial history. I cut in. Dad's promotion came when I was 16. Grandma's inheritance arrived before my freshman year. You had the money. You just chose not to spend it on me. The room falls quiet. I lay out 30 years of birthday cards. Chelsea's, overflowing with affection. Mine, short notes, reminders to work hard or be responsible. Dad finally exhales, his voice cracking. We always knew you'd be fine. You were capable. There it is. The truth behind decades of disparity. Being capable doesn't mean I deserved less love. My throat tightens, but I keep my voice steady. Being responsible didn't mean I was supposed to carry everyone else's burdens. Mom breaks this time. Not manipulative tears, but real ones. Shoulders shaking, tissue damp. We never meant to hurt you. Intent doesn't erase impact. I reach into my purse one final time. Pull out the plastic piggy bank. Place it on the table. The sound echoes hollow. Dad sneers. What is this nonsense? I open the stopper. Dozens of crisp $2 bills spill across the table. Their color catches the light. Strange currency. Hard to ignore. I saved one for every week since Christmas, I explain. Not for the money. For the meaning. This is what you decided I was worth. Chelsea lifts one, rolling it between her fingers. Her voice falters. I never realized how it looked from your side. A pause. They never taught me to stand on my own. Muffled voices drift past the heavy door. Relatives heading toward the ceremony. Love and commitment about to be celebrated, while here, we dissect decades of absence. I don't want apologies. I stand. Straighten my jacket. I want change. I'll consider reconciliation under 2 conditions: family therapy and respect for my boundaries. Dad opens his mouth, ready to fight. But Mom places her hand on his arm, stops him. We'll do it, she whispers. Her voice thin but firm. Whatever it takes. I gather my photo album, my records, my piggy bank. Leave the bills scattered on the table. That's yours, I say. A reminder of what happens when you value one child over another. Hand on the doorknob, I glance back. I need to take my seat for the ceremony. Monica saved me a place. I step into the hallway, my back straight. My heart lighter than it's been in years. Behind me, I hear Chelsea whisper to our parents, "She's different now."
She's right.
The woman who fled that Christmas morning, carrying only grief and resolve, is gone. In her place stands someone who knows her worth, not measured by scraps of affection or calculated favoritism, but by what she refuses to accept ever again. Christmas morning. Sunlight spills across the hardwood floors of my San Francisco apartment. A table set with rosemary and sage, turkey roasting in the oven. Friends gather, filling the air with laughter. Real laughter, not the strained echoes of obligation. Monica raises her glass, curls glowing in the window light. To Iris, who builds bridges better than anyone I know, at work and in life. My cheeks warm. 1 year ago, I left everything familiar behind. Now I stand in a home filled with people who choose to be here. surrounded by pottery I shaped with my own hands. And to Senior Project Manager Collins, Elliot adds. His fingers brush mine under the table. The touch sparks, not lightning, but something steady. Reliable. Whose team finished Richardson Tower 2 weeks ahead of schedule? I smile. Elliot understands deadlines. Structure. Sustainability. Not just in buildings but in relationships too. This is my life now. Built, not inherited. Chosen, not imposed. When Elliot first asked me to coffee 6 months ago, I almost said no. The reflex was automatic, an old habit, the voice that always whispered, "Your needs come last." But I said yes. Dr. Winters called it progress. A tiny step, but one that cracked open a door I'd been keeping locked for years. The kitchen timer chimes. The sound rescues me from having to answer Elliot's grin when he catches me replaying that moment in my head. Some changes are immediate. Others, they stretch across seasons. Need help, he asks, following me into the kitchen. I've got it. The words fall out without thought. The script I've lived by my whole life. Then I pause. Dr. Winter's voice nudges in, gentle but firm. Accepting help doesn't weaken you. It builds connection. Actually, could you carve the turkey? I admit, a laugh escaping my throat. I never learned how. His smile widens. He picks up the carving knife with the same ease I've seen him handle blueprints, hands steady. Sure. My phone buzzes against the counter. A video call. Chelsea. We set the rule after the wedding, monthly calls. Boundaries that keep us tethered without chains. I swipe to answer. Merry Christmas, she says, her face filling the screen. Her apartment looks smaller than mine. No designer furniture. No staged perfection. The BMW is long gone, replaced with late nights and 2 jobs. Her eyes carry shadows now, but her voice is softer, stripped of entitlement. You look happy, she says. The words sound almost like an apology. Your place looks beautiful. It feels like home. I answer, tilting the camera to show the shelves lined with pottery. Clay that once trembled in my unsure hands, now shaped into bowls and vases. Imperfect. Whole.
Mine.
How are Mom and Dad? Chelsea hesitates, then adjusts the camera. Dad sits behind her in a modest living room. His frame looks smaller, worn. 90 days sober today, she says. He wanted me to tell you. The meetings, they're helping. He's different when he's not drinking. I nod slowly. The image of him without bourbon in his hand feels foreign, almost fragile. And Mom? She's volunteering at the community center. Wanted to join, but she's running an emergency food drive. Chelsea's voice softens. They ask about you. Not like before. Not to pull you back in. Just they ask. We talk a little longer. Awkward, but not hostile. A bridge, fragile and new. The wall clock reminds me. It's dinner time. Around my table, conversation flows easily. Monica's quick wit, Elliot's dry humor, laughter from coworkers and the pottery group. Real warmth, woven from choice, not obligation. No one mentions the piggy bank on the mantle. They don't need to. It sits there quietly, filled with dollar bills now. Not resentment, but lessons. Each one a marker of how far I've come. After dessert, my phone buzzes again. A text from Chelsea. A photo of a clay ornament. Lumpy. Uneven. But shaped with care. Mailing it tomorrow, she wrote. Another message follows.
Mom.
Found this while downsizing. It always belonged to you. The attachment opens to a photo of my childhood dollhouse. The one thing I'd loved without reservation. Beneath it, the deed transfer. My name on the paper.
Mine. Ufficiali.
Later, the house is quiet. Elliot dries the last dish while I step out onto the balcony. The night air is sharp with December chill. San Francisco Bay stretches wide before me, bridges lit like strings of stars, reflections quivering across dark water. In the distance, silhouettes of towers I helped design pierce the horizon. My fingerprints are etched into this skyline. Worth isn't something you earn through usefulness, I whisper to the city lights. It's something you claim by knowing what you will and won't accept. Elliot steps out, drapes a blanket over my shoulders. His warmth settles against my back. Deep thoughts. Just grateful, I answer, leaning into him. Sometimes the greatest gift isn't what people finally give you. It's realizing what you refuse to take anymore. Through the glass, I see it again. The piggy bank on the mantel. Once, a reminder of my smallest worth. Now, a symbol of the courage it took to choose myself. Not a ledger of lack, but proof of love, the kind that starts inside.